Presented by Honda. We've been fans since day one. Honda, official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays and proud fan since 1977.
Welcome indoors. The Chicago White Sox and Rick Renteria are here at Rogers Center. The White Sox won an abbreviated two-game series against the Royals, and they really swung the bats. They hit 7 home runs in 2 games. Take a look at the lineup for the White Sox. Switch hitting Yoan Moncada is in top spot. And then down in the number 3 spot, Jose Abreu. And look at his numbers against lefty pitching. And he's facing a lefty tonight in Garcia.
This is a team that really had their way last season against left-handed pitching. A lot of right-handed boppers in that lineup. Matt Davidson's hit 3 home runs already this season. They will face Jaime Garcia. Jaime will make his first start as a Blue Jay. He was originally drafted by the Baltimore Orioles in the 30th round in 2004, did not sign, then was drafted in the 22nd round, Buck, in 2005, made it to the big leagues with the Cardinals. This is his 10th season in the major leagues. Chicago is one of 4 teams that Jaime has yet to pitch against. He also hasn't pitched against the Yankees, St. Louis, and the Texas Rangers. The Blue Jays know about Garcia because they faced him last year when he was a member of the Yankees, lasting just a season-low 2 1/3 innings against the Blue Jays. He needs a big one tonight. I'll tell you, he is really excited for 2018 to get started.
He could really be an asset in the 5th spot in this rotation. The Blue Jays had a good series defensively in the 4 games against New York. They committed just 2 errors and turned 5 double plays.
And the guy at first base doesn't get enough credit defensively. He was one of 9 first basemen with 120 game starts last season at first base, and he had the fewest errors, just 2 errors at first base last season. You talk about the hitting, but Justin Smoak is an outstanding defender also at first base.
Certainly gives his infielders a lot of confidence digging those low throws out. So Garcia is set. This is his 175th career start, first ever against the White Sox. Yoan Moncada, a switch hitter, batting right-handed. Here's the first pitch of the ball game. It's up and away for ball 1, and we are underway. Moncada, .231 a year ago with 8 homers and 22 RBIs. 2 for 10 so far in the year going.
Battled the injury problems the last couple of years, but he's a talent.
Ground ball through the left side, a leadoff single.
Well, we've said that this is his first start as a Blue Jay, so let's introduce you to Jaime Garcia and what he will feature. It's basically fastball changeup. He can cut the ball a little bit when he needs to, curveball and a slider at times. He really relies on his late movement. His sinker is his favorite pitch, and he'll get a share of ground ball outs with that. He will pitch inside against right-handers, and I think he's going to have to against some of these right-handed hitters that the White Sox throw up there.
We mentioned how good they are against lefty pitching. Gonna have to get some ground balls, get some double plays in support of Jaime Garcia. This is Avisail Garcia, the right fielder. First pitch strike. Garcia hit .330 last year. 27 doubles, 5 triples, and 18 home runs. He's a tough out.
Really finally came into his own, if you will, last season for this team. They had been waiting for a couple of years after they got him from the Detroit Tigers, waiting for him to come into his own, and he did finally by hitting the ball all over the ballpark.
There's a double play ball. Diaz to Travis to Smoak. We told you he gets a lot of ground balls, and that was a very timely one right to the shortstop.
He says he relies on a late movement on his sinker. Loves to throw that sinker, loves to use that changeup also. That time he got Garcia to hit one. He hit it hard now. This is a cutter that's down and away, and he was able to pull it into the ground. He hit it hard, but right at the shortstop, tailor-made.
6 double play on the season for the Blue Jays infield. Jose Abreu. He hit .300 last year, drove in 102. He goes after the first pitch.
That's what I like about some of these White Sox hitters is they're very aggressive. They were scoring tons of runs this spring, and they've started the season the same way. They put up 14 runs on opening day against the Kansas City Royals.
They hit 7 home runs in that 2-game series. Boy, a lot of late movement on that pitch. And Russell Martin, catching Garcia for the first time in a regular season game, said catching him is a real challenge. You know it's going to move, but you don't necessarily know which direction it's going to move. Oh, and 2.
That's where you want to place that slider right there with 2 strikes to that right-hander, right off of his shoe tops. Try to get him to swing over the top of that one. That's got to be difficult to catch a pitcher where you're not real sure where the ball's going.
Well, man, that's a real challenge. You just have to have real soft hands and let the ball come to you. You can't fight it. You can't try to chase it. Wanted that ball upstairs and missed down and in. You never want to have a pitcher kind of straighten that pitch out. It's a natural sink, and that's what's most effective for Garcia. That was a little short of the mark.
That will play tonight in the championship game in the basketball. Good bounce pass right there.
To Martin.
Looked like he got his spikes caught on the turf, or excuse me, on the mound, right when he was getting ready to let it go. Trying to work that slider in again to Abreu.
Bounce that one in the dirt and gets the strikeout. Good start for Jaime Garcia. Double play and a strikeout. No problem in the top of the first. When we come back, Devin Travis, Josh Donaldson, and Justin Smoke will go up against Reynaldo Lopez. The final 2 games, and the offense started to click in games 3 and 4. 2-2 on the season, as we mentioned. Devin Travis leading things off. He's 1 for 12 in the early going, and Josh Donaldson, boy, he likes when he sees the Chicago White Sox. In his last 23 games against the Sox, a .405 average with 9 home runs, and Justin Smoke, he's been smoking the last 2 games. He has gone 6 for 8, 2 home runs and 8 RBIs. The 8 RBIs, that leads the majors.
Blue Jays will face 24-year-old Reynaldo Lopez tonight. He will get his first start of the 2018 season and his first career start against the Blue Jays. 8 starts last year. He was 3-3 with a .472 earned run average. He came over as one of those 3 pitchers from the Washington Nationals before last season for Adam Eaton. Good young arm. He's got a good fastball and an outstanding changeup.
24 years old. This is actually his 3rd season in the majors. He debuted with the Nationals in 2016 and got back up to the big leagues last year in 8 games. Devin Travis, we mentioned, just 1 for 12 on the season, but he's got an RBI.
And being a young pitcher, and he's got an outstanding arm, he's not polished yet when it comes to being able to throw strikes consistently.
Fastball jammed Travis.
You can see he's got a great arm. That's an easy 97 miles an hour, but off the plate, and Devin swung through it.
You mentioned that Lopez is not yet polished. He has given up more than a hit per inning early in his career. And you can see there's no problem with his velocity. It's about the location, the command, and his ability to get those secondary pitches over.
And that is all part of his development. They have really pushed him along, and they want him to pitch in the big leagues this season. That's Donnie Cooper right there with the glasses on, the pitching coach.
Travis strikes out, 1 away. The White Sox have a very athletic young ball club, and they've got some speed in the outfield. Lurie Garcia is in left, Adam Engel in center, and Avisail Garcia is in right. And behind the plate, they've got a veteran in Castillo.
And one of the ways you help young pitchers along, you empower your catcher and give him a lot of leeway with these young kids. So you take control of this staff. They want a lot of feedback from Wellington Castillo, who's starting his first season with the White Sox, and they want him to control these young pitchers.
1 away, Josh Donaldson takes the first pitch strike at 99. We mentioned Donaldson's great numbers against the White Sox over his last 23 games. He's hit .405 against them. 2 for 13 on the young season. Another 99, but not close.
Reaching back for a little something extra. That 99, if you can get that into the strike zone with regularity, it really sets up everything else he has to feature. And that's a pretty good changeup.
The breaking ball right there at 88. 1-2.
He was basically fastball changeup. And then this spring, Donnie Cooper was telling us today that they introduced the slider to him. They said, we're going to give you a slider just to give you a little something extra to use.
Off the end of the bat, Tapper back to the mound. Donaldson breaks his bat. 2 quick outs for Lopez, and that'll bring the red-hot Justin Smoak to the plate, who was just named the AL Player of the Week.
One thing that we have noticed already about Justin Smoak is his patience at the plate this season. He had a 10-pitch at bat that resulted in a single in yesterday's game, and then this one, the eventual game winner to dead center field. That was a 9-pitch at bat where he fouled off a couple of tough curveballs from David Robertson before he got that cut fastball and drilled it out of here for that grand slam home run. Tell you what, I don't know if you can improve on what he did last year, but so far in this young season, he looks like an even better hitter.
Certainly he has to be confident after a breakout season a year ago. 38 home runs. Good start to his season. Goes the other way on that outside pitch and fouls it into the seats.
He was as consistent as you can be last season, and every day he would come to the ballpark and you would see him work on the same thing day after day. His frame of mind was outstanding last year. I think that really helped him to have that big year.
Upstairs at 97. I would imagine the Blue Jays hitters are going to be geared up for the fastball until Lopez really shows them that he can get his breaking ball and slider over. There's a changeup, 86, but down.
Yeah.
I think when you have a youngster like this, you just have to sell out and say, okay, let me catch up to a fastball. And you can see everybody studying Lopez.
Yeah, until he proves that he can throw his off-speed stuff for strikes.
He throws it there. He gets Smoak on a slider for strike 3. So good start for the youngster. 3 up, 3 down with a pair of strikeouts.
at that number 5 spot in the rotation when the likes of Nick Tepish, Cesar Valdez, and Casey Lawrence were called on to fill in all too often. Now, Garcia says that he's had to reinvent himself, adopt new things because of injuries, surgery, and body changes. He feels he's in a better place now physically and mentally at this point of his career. The key for him, Garcia said, quote, "I really need to control counts. He needs to be in the driver's seat, 0-1, 1-2, and really be able to make his pitches in any count. It's always about reinventing yourself," Garcia says, working with what you have at that point in your career. Buck.
Thank you very much, Hazel. And Jaime Garcia, 31 years old. He'll turn 32 on the 8th of July. Born in Reynosa, Mexico. The Blue Jays have 3 Mexican-born players on their team, all 3 pitchers: Estrada, Garcia, and Osuna. This is Matt Davidson. He made history on opening day. He hit 3 home runs. All against the Royals, of course, and interesting, there have only been 5 players that have had 3 home runs on opening day, and 3 of those occurrences came against Kansas City. 4 players, I said 5, excuse me. Matt Davidson becoming the 4th on this opening day.
I don't know if we should be surprised. He led the Cactus League in RBIs this past spring.
Hit 26 home runs a year ago. So another ground ball out. That'll bring the catcher Wellington Castillo to the plate. Castillo, now 30 years old. Last year played with the Orioles. Hit 20 home runs.
Yeah, I got tired of him hitting all those big home runs against the Blue Jays last season. He had a couple of game winners against Toronto.
Hit 5 home runs and drove in 9 against the Blue Jays.
Said, okay, we finally get him out of the league, or the division at least, and here we are, the 5th game of the season. We see him again. He's got that uppercut swing, and he's always looking for something middle in that he can drive to left field.
20 home runs last year, a career high for Castillo. Another ball in the dirt, and Garcia just having a little trouble getting settled on this mound early on. He threw one very short in the first inning, but he had a good inning. Got a double play and struck out Abreu. Working with 1 out, a 3-0 count to Castillo. Boy, nice job by Martin receiving that low strike.
He got that strike right there for Jaime Garcia. You talk about framing. You have to have strong hands to be able to do what Russell Martin did right there. Pull the ball back in.
Another great sinker. You know what? There are guys that throw 100, but it's like catching a feather. But Garcia will throw 90, 91 maybe, and it's like catching a 16-pound bowling ball. And you never really get it in the pocket of your mitt. Strike 3 call. Another good job by Martin holding that low strike.
Yeah, watch and concentrate on his hand action and how his hand is able to hold the ball right there. That's a 4-seamer, and it's actually cutting. Look at this ball going away and how he frames it and then holds it right there for him. A lot of times you'll see catchers try to catch a ball like that, and the force of the ball takes their hand right out of the strike zone. But Russell's so strong he can hold it right there for the home plate umpire.
This is Tim Anderson, the fine young shortstop. He's got a pair of home runs already. He's 3 for 8 on the season. He hit 17 homers a year ago.
Just scratching the surface as a type of player I think he can be. Power and speed, and he plays a demanding position at shortstop.
Ground ball pulled foul. Anderson's 23 years old. He's beginning his 3rd season with the White Sox. Got into 146 games. He was the everyday shortstop last year. We mentioned his 17 home runs. He also struck out 162 times. Todd Steverson, the hitting coach, Really pleased with this core of hitters he has. Garcia elevated that pitch and he gets ahead 1-2.
Now I think you have to do that if you're Jaime Garcia tonight. You can't throw everything down, down, down. At some point you're going to have to elevate some balls, maybe get them up over their hands and then go back down. As hitters, if you've got a guy who just continually pounds down in the strike zone, they're going to make the adjustment.
Breaking ball, that curveball that time, right in a good spot, down and in. There is no question about the assortment of pitches that Jaime Garcia features. He has all the weapons for sure. The only thing that's really held him back over the years have been injuries.
Injuries, and he said in spring training, I feel great. Physically, I feel great. Better than I felt in 3 years.
Another good breaking ball there. Well, the one thing that's really playing into his hand early on is he's pounding that strike zone. He is in control early.
His first year in the big leagues, he won 13 games for the St. Louis Cardinals in 2010. Came back and won 13 more the next year. And the injuries started happening and had a whirlwind season last year.
Changeup missed. Came right back with it. Garcia shook to the changeup. He bounced it, but got Anderson to chase. 3 up, 3 down, couple of strikeouts. Jaime Garcia making his first start as a Blue Jay. 2 effective innings early on.
Such as the MLB TV Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live radio broadcasts, stats, news, and more. Download MLB At Bat today. Buck.
Thank you very much, Hazel. You can keep up on everything going around baseball. The Yankees, a home opener, was snowed out. They got about 4 inches of snow around the New York City area. And Kansas City, where they were supposed to play on Sunday, they had nasty weather as well, and that game was called early.
The Astros hung their pennant tonight, the World Series championship. They waited 56 years for that. They got that tonight.
Players received their World Series rings. Rich Dower threw out the first pitch, and that's an interesting story. He was their first base coach last year, and then during the parade, he had a very serious medical condition. He nearly died. And it was really great that they were able to bring him back, and he threw out the first pitch in Houston. And Ever Solarte. There's a breaking ball. Lopez has gotten that slider over pretty effectively in the early going. He struck out Travis on a slider and got Smoke looking on a slider.
Again, Don Cooper told us that they introduced that slider to him this spring. They wanted to find a pitch that had a little bit less speed than his fastball, a little bit more than his changeup, and something that goes down and into a lefty.
There's another one, and a good example of it, down and into Solarte, third strikeout.
That's a pretty impressive slider if he just learned it this spring. The Super Slow-Mo is brought to you by the Samsung S9 and S9 Plus, the camera reimagined. Available now. That's where they want to throw that sliders to lefties. Down and in. And in. Not down and over the plate, but in. Get it off the plate.
Curtis Granderson. He's the only Blue Jay in this lineup that has faced Lopez in the past. He's 1 for 2 with the home run. Turns on that pitch up and in, and that broke his bat. Needs a new piece of lumber.
Still turned on it. That was an upper 90s fastball, and he's able to still turn on it. So Curtis is still quick.
We mentioned Lopez made his debut with the Washington Nationals July 19th of 2016. That came against the Dodgers. And he really had a rough start to his career. 1-1 pitch. Chase Utley hit the first pitch Lopez ever threw in the majors out of the ballpark. Then Howie Kendrick singled. Justin Turner doubled. And Jock Peterson had a 2-out, 2-run single. Rough first inning for Lopez. Abreu, you could hear him calling for it. Granderson pops out to the first base. The Pitch Tracker is brought to you by Coors Light, official beer of Major League Baseball. Two away, Randall Grichuk will step in the box. Randall's 2 for 14 with a home run.
What could that do to a young player? You know, if you are welcome to the big leagues like that, if you're not strong mentally.
Yeah, step up there. The guy hits your first pitch out of the ballpark. Then the next two guys get a single and a double. You say, man, this is a tough league.
I was getting away with that pitch down in the minor leagues. Well, you know what? If you're not strong mentally, it could really shock you. This kid looks like he learns quickly.
Well, he's got one of the best pitching coaches to work with in Don Cooper. Cooper's in his 30th season in the organization with the White Sox, his 16th season as the pitching coach, and he's had some good ones. Mark Burley comes to mind. Chris Sale. He's got James Shields now, who he really admires, but they've had some good pitchers. There's Shields, who's making some adjustments on his delivery. But
up and down just a little bit more. Yeah, the list goes on and on for the White Sox. They always seem to have some decent pitching. John Garland had some good seasons when he was with the Chicago White Sox. They won the World Series in 2005.
Jose Contreras was a big part of that pitching staff. 3-2 pitch. Inside, ball 4. That's the first walk issued. First base runner for the Blue Jays. Snaps a streak of 5 in a row. Retired by Lopez to start this game.
It looked like he really wanted that pitch. It really wanted that strikeout and overthrew it and missed his spot. Strike one is so important, I think, for young pitchers. When you throw strike one and you use your fastball and get ahead, it just opens up everything else.
2-out walk, Martin at the plate. Russell is 1 for 8. Was after that first pitch. Martin had a big hit in that 8th inning for the Blue Jays in yesterday's game, a leadoff single off David Robertson, his first career hit off of Robertson. course, that set the table for the Smoke Grand Slam. High fly ball to right. Garcia back. He's got plenty of room. Martin's retired on the fly ball to right. 2-out walk, no problem for Reynaldo Lopez. No score after 2. That base runner with a double play, and Garcia becomes an important guy. When you look at the Blue Jays starting rotation a year ago, Stroman was the #1, a great ERA, great season, over 200 innings. J-Happ, of course, Aaron Sanchez made just 8 starts. Marco Estrada had an ERA closing in on 5, and he seems to have sorted things out. But look at the other 63 starts. They combined for an ERA almost 6.
63 other starts spread out over 10 different pitchers to make that #5 spots in the lineup, in the rotation. The top 4, you can pretty much count on those guys, and you know what you're getting with them. Last year, they had no idea who was coming or going in that #5 spot, and it was different every week. This year, they're hoping that'll all settle down with Jaime Garcia.
Some of the names that pitched in the 5th spot for the Blue Jays: Brett Anderson made 7 starts. Mike Bolsinger made 5 starts. Matt Latos, Chris Rowley, Nick Tepish, and Cesar Valdez all made 3 starts. So they were just grasping at straws at times last year.
Garcia came late too, mid-February. I mean, almost not even 10 days before spring training started. They signed Garcia, and this might turn out to be one of those late signings where you wait for the player to come to you. Looks like it might work out for the Blue Jays.
Signed February 15th. Could be a heck of a late Valentine's Day gift. 0-2. Good breaking ball. Lurie Garcia strikes out. 3 in a row for Jaime Garcia.
4 for the game. That's his curveball. He'll throw a slider and a curve and a changeup, and he's going to mix in that curveball. It's got a lot of depth to it tonight, and he put that one in a good spot.
Yolmer Sanchez, the 3rd baseman. Sanchez is a switch hitter. One thing the White Sox have an abundance of: speed. They've got some guys that can run. Bottom 4 in the order: Anderson, Lurie Garcia, Sanchez, and Engel. They can all fly.
Yeah, so that doesn't just, it's not about stolen bases. It's choppers in the infield putting little pressure on the defense. It's going 1st to 3rd on sharply hit balls into the outfield, scoring from first base on doubles. You're right, they're young and they've got a lot of athleticism.
Another good curveball. Jaime Garcia is locked in here early in this ball game. And you're right, he was anxious to make this start. First and foremost, obviously you want to get off to a good start with your team, but he feels physically great. Says it's the best he's felt in 3 or 4 years. Breaking ball bounced off of Martin. Pat, you mentioned that Garcia made a start here last year against the Blue Jays while pitching for Atlanta. That was on May 16th. He started against Marco Estrada. He ended up with a no decision as Jose Ramirez was charged with a blown save. But Jaime went 5 1/3, allowed just 3 hits. Kevin Pillar hit a 5th inning home run off of him.
He also pitched against the Blue Jays as a member of the Yankees. In fact, he made 3 consecutive starts with 3 different teams last year.
Sanchez spoils that outside pitch. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
So you say, well, how is that possible that a guy can make 3 consecutive starts with 3 different teams? Started with Atlanta, who then traded him to Minnesota. Made a start for Minnesota and then traded him to the Yankees and started for the Yankees.
He said that hit him. I'm not so sure it did, but I think Russell Martin's not sure as well. And home plate umpire indicating to the Blue Jays dugout, Jordan Baker said, yeah, I saw it hit him and I awarded him first. The Blue Jays look like they're going to look at it, see in fact if it did hit him. Kamalo Hale, the bench coach, is checking with the video room.
Another cutter that went inside.
I don't think it ever touched him.
Maybe part of that shin guard, the flap started coming out. Maybe it went off of that. Sanchez initially didn't go anywhere, and he had to look back to the umpire and say, hey, did I hit that? Did I get hit? And he said yes, so the Blue Jays are going to look at it.
Yeah, I don't blame him for challenging this. The ball got away from Russell, and to me, it didn't look like it hit anything. Went off of Russell's glove. It was ruled a hit by pitch, and the Blue Jays are going to ask for the review.
From that one shot that we had, it didn't look like it got any part of his body. But maybe, just maybe, that's what they heard, that it might have hit part of that shin guard, the flap that was coming up that was securing it to his leg.
It's really hard to tell, and it's one of the plays you can review whether or not a batter was hit. I don't think it ever touched him.
No, didn't look like it on that time.
The ball doesn't appear to change direction or get deflected, so I think this one's going to be overturned. Certainly taking a long time to look at it. There are 3 outcomes that can be decided upon. It can be confirmed in New York, clear and convincing evidence that the call on the field was correct. It can stand. There's no clear and convincing evidence to confirm or overturn the call, or of course it can be overturned.
Conclusive evidence also for the umpires, and they've got their answer.
They're going to let him stay at first. Jerry Lane is the crew chief. He is umpiring at first base. So indeed it is a hit by pitch. One out now. This is Adam Engel, who is batting in the 9th spot. Pretty good pitch.
You mentioned some of the speed that the White Sox have. Sanchez stole 8 bases last year, but did not have a good percentage. He looks like he'd be more inclined to be used as a hit and run type of player, not a straight steal type of player.
Ball too low. And Torria going through the offensive signs from the White Sox dugout. He's in his second season as the manager. He's also managed the Cubs.
That might be a trivia question someday. Who was the manager before Joe Madden took over? Renteria talked to the players. They have a lot of respect for him. And he asks one thing: play the game hard, run everything out. If you only have 90% that day, give me 100% of that 90. It just is right.
There goes the runner. Martin's throw is short of the mark. It hits the base runner and goes into center. Yolmer Sanchez picks up a stolen base. Had been air charged to Martin. The throw was short of the mark at second, hit the base runner, and then went into center field to allow him to go from second to third.
To me, that looked more like somebody missed a sign. This looked like a hit and run that was missed, but Sanchez is going to be rewarded with a stolen base, and he'll move up to third base on the air after that ball got tangled up with him. The infield will now come in after the stolen base and error.
2-2 pitch to Engel. Ground ball to third. Sanchez, now they got him in a rundown. Solarte to Martin. And now Diaz puts the tag on him. Nice play by Solarte. He kept his eye on Sanchez, and he was right near the base. Sanchez just got too far away from third, and Solarte was able to run between third base and the base runner.
When you're a runner at third base, your first reaction is to lean towards home plate when that ball is hit. But if it's hit to the third baseman, you're going to be caught out in no man's land, and that's where Sanchez was. It wasn't the contact play. He was just caught in between, and then the only thing you can do is try to get into a rundown long enough to get that runner who hit the ball into scoring position. So that at least worked out for him. He tried to run into the third baseman, and I don't know if you saw that. Sanchez, the runner, tried to get some interference with Solarte, but he wasn't having anything to do with that.
On the play, Engel goes to second. But now there are 2 outs. Boy, there was no reason at all for Sanchez to get caught off third. That ball's hit the third baseman, go back to the bag. So early in the ball game, he just made a mistake.
Yep, just got caught out in no man's land. If you're not going on the contact play, no reason to go. If you're not going to go, you got to make sure the ball gets into the outfield.
So the Blue Jays give up a stolen base, and Martin commits an error, but Sanchez drifted too far off the bag at third, and he's caught in a rundown. Two and one now. The batter is Moncada. He had a single to left field his first time up, pulled it through the left side into that 5-6 hole. Good changeup. They throw that when you're behind in a count. That is a very effective pitch.
Got a lot of deception also in his windup when he lets go of the baseball. 2-1. Moncada was ready for a fastball, and he crossed him up.
Way inside. Now it's a full count. Avisail Garcia is on deck. Engel hit into a fielder's choice, went to second base during the rundown in which Yolmer Sanchez was tagged out, and there's Garcia. Full count. Off the plate inside. You could hear Jordan Baker. Ball in.
Well, if it missed, it didn't miss by much. I thought he had him set up for that pitch nicely. That changeup, that 2-1 changeup he threw, had him set up for that pitch on the inside part of the plate. And according to the home plate umpire, it just missed.
So the White Sox have had a hit batter, a stolen base. Blue Jays committed an error. Now they have another walk, so there are 2 on, but there are 2 outs. Right fielder, Avisail Garcia.
And this guy absolutely owned left-handed pitching last year. He hit .424 against lefties last season.
He was the tops in the American League, and they also have the number 3 hitter.
And Jose Abreu's up there, up over 300. There was a time you could get Garcia out, he would chase Avisail Garcia, and he had holes in his swing, and he was very aggressive. But he's calmed things down. Look at those numbers, his last 9 games against Toronto. Kept it going this spring, where he hit .364 this spring.
Popped up and back out of play. Jaime Garcia trying to work out of a jam here in the 3rd. He struck out Lurie Garcia to start the inning and then hit Yomer Sanchez with a pitch. Engel reached on a fielder's choice while Sanchez was caught in a rundown off of 3rd. And then Moncada walked. Got it. Big strikeout for Jaime Garcia. The White Sox strand a pair. Still no score as we head to the bottom of the 3rd.
TV's community partners. And fans, it won't be long now. 16 wins, a 2-month grind, all for the Cup. The 2018 Stanley Cup playoffs on CBC and Sportsnet begins April 11th.
Lots going on certainly this time of the year. And the Stanley Cup playoffs all begin on the 11th. No score, bottom of the 3rd. Kevin Pillar will lead things off for the Blue Jays, and Kevin's off to a great start. 6 for 13 so far this season. The Blue Jays have had just one base runner in the first 2 innings, a 2-out walk by Randall Grichuk. Pillar, Diaz, and then back to the top of the order, Devin Travis.
Blue Jays getting their first look at Reynaldo Lopez, and so far he's been able to get that slider over. Fastball for strikes. His best pitch has been his changeup, and he hasn't been able to throw that yet consistently tonight.
They mentioned Don Cooper and his tenure with the White Sox, and Cooper had some advice from a new assistant with the White Sox, Dave Duncan, the great pitching coach for a long time with Tony La Russa, first Oakland and then St. Louis. But Duncan is an advisor of the White Sox, and one thing Duncan told Cooper: empower the catcher, Wellington Castillo. Give him the responsibility of handling this pitching staff, and he will run with it. Duncan had Castillo earlier in his career, and he felt like that would give him some responsibility that would really make this pitching staff better. And you can see he's motioning to the young Lopez out on the mound. Anderson, it's short. He's got a strong arm. One away.
Had him in Arizona when he was a younger player. When you empower the catcher, he's got some ownership in that pitching staff. And for a new catcher to come to a new organization, I think that's a very smart thing to do.
You can see Cooper looking at Castillo, and he told us earlier that Castillo has really become quite the student during the pitchers' meetings. And then, as the game unfolds, he keeps an eye on the catcher, watches where he sets up, watches the pitches he's calling, and just see if he's carrying out that game plan.
And he says he can get really good with him now that he can call the game plan with him. He goes, okay, I need one inside here, or I need one up, or throw me an off-speed pitch, and 9 times out of 10, they're on the same page.
And that miss Diaz. Diaz 1 for 10 in the early going. He hit his first hit as a Blue Jay in the 8th inning in yesterday's game. Hit it off the base of the wall in deep right center. Lays off that high pitch.
You know, to finish that talk about catchers and empowering them, that's why I never understood where coaches would call games for pitchers through the catcher instead of the catcher learning how to call a game and working with the pitcher that day.
Well, and you make a great point. And in kids' sports, high school, college even, coaches call everything. And having done it a few times myself, there's no way anybody from the side of home plate can determine where the pitch is on the plate. You might know height, of course, but you can't tell in and out. You can't tell if a breaking ball backed up and went the wrong way. But if you give the catcher the ability to call games, he will think of what pitch has an impact on the next pitch and the next pitch. It gives you an idea how to set up a hitter.
And for young players, what better way to learn the game of baseball but calling your own game and learning to call your own game.
Well, and one of the big challenges you have for young catchers is when you get to the big leagues, and we just saw a great example of that in Gary Sanchez for 3 days in a 4-game series. You never catch this caliber of pitcher in the minor leagues because they're all in the big leagues.
Or they're not there very long, are they?
3-2 pitch to Diaz. High fly ball deep to center field, but Engel gets back. He's going to have room. And he makes the catch 2 away. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. How about that crowd?
Some Hall of Fames there and some rings.
Isn't it interesting? Jeter is still going up against the Red Sox. Only this time he's doing it as the general manager. Back to the top of the order for the Blue Jays. They're still looking for their first base hit. This is their first look at Fernando Lopez. 3 strikeouts, first time through the order.
He's got the look of Luis Severino, who the Blue Jays faced on opening night. The same kind of look, the same kind of easy fastball, and the same kind of wicked slider.
1-2. Lots of conversation going on the Blue Jays bench about what Lopez has featured to this point. Off the end of the bat, right to Moncada at second. 3 up, 3 down. No problem at all. Still no score. We'll go to the 4th.
Last night's win from about 100 feet, and then earlier today he was long tossing in the outfield and taking ground balls before batting practice. Barring any setbacks, manager John Gibbons expects Donaldson to return as a starting third baseman tomorrow. That's certainly good news for Donaldson and for Kendrys Morales-Buck, who's had limited playing time with Donaldson as the team's designated hitter.
That's a great point, Hazel, because Kendrys Morales is the everyday DH, and while Donaldson has to DH, Morales has been limited to a pinch hitter role. It was unfortunate against CC Sabathia because Morales had a 360 career batting average against Sabathia, but Donaldson had the DH. Jose Abreu, he struck out on a breaking ball in the dirt his first time up. Jaime Garcia with 5 strikeouts through 3 innings.
He's been a consistent player, hasn't he, since he has come to the big leagues? Jose Abreu, 4 consecutive seasons of 25+ homers and 100 RBIs. It's exactly what they wanted when they signed him. Production at first base, puts you in the middle of that lineup.
Line drive to left field. Granderson was playing deep. He'll play it on a hop and keep Abreu to a long single. That's an important play for the Blue Jays because you keep the double play in order.
Was he ever playing deep? That's a cut fastball that ends up over the middle of the plate, but Granderson was playing deep. Watch where he catches the ball. Almost at the warning track on one hop. That ball gets by him and it's extra bases, but he holds him to a single and keeps you right to double play in order because Garcia can throw his share of grounders.
Matt Davidson hit a ground ball to the third baseman his first time up. Takes a first pitch strike. Davidson was a first-round pick of the Diamondbacks in 2009. He came to Chicago in December. Trade in 2013 for Addison Reed, big right-hander. Reed's now with the Twins. But Davidson, a very interesting young hitter. 26 home runs, 68 RBIs a year ago, and just 414 at bats.
Strong. It's got a quick bat. Led the Cactus League in RBIs with 19. In fact, this whole White Sox team was hitting in spring training.
You've had spring training in Arizona. It's really tough on pitchers in Arizona. The ball flies and pitchers don't get really comfortable with their breaking balls because the ball just doesn't break. So the hitters can put up some gaudy numbers.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, and then they put up 14 against the Royals on opening day. And Davidson had 3 of those home runs.
The White Sox have hit 7 home runs and scored 18 runs in the first 2 games they've played this year. And we asked Rick Renteria about his ball club, and the first thing he says was, they play hard.
I think a lot of that has to do with the young players that they have here. They've made an effort to redo their team, if you will. They're rebuilding the last couple of years. And the young players have brought a lot of enthusiasm to the team.
Well, I think, too, that the manager has established the attitude he wants from his players. Avisail Garcia was taken out of a spring training game for not running out of baseball.
In the first inning.
Ground ball to third. Solarte to second for 1. Back to first. Double play. There's that play by Granderson, playing so deep in left field, keeping Abreu from getting a double. And the Blue Jays capitalize with another double play.
Chalk went up to the scouting report that you can play Abreu deep, that if he hits it on the line, you can keep it to a single. And that helped out on this play. Solarte's played a good third base, filling in for Donaldson, showing some range and a pretty good arm. He's made some good plays reading the runners at third base.
He made that heads-up play back in the third to catch Yomer Sanchez off the bag at third and get him in a rundown. 2 outs now for the catcher, Wellington Castillo.
Boy, the little things inside a ball game, that there's no stat for it, but Granderson playing deep, and he was able to cut that ball off and hold him to a single. It could help the Blue Jays.
Well, it certainly helps Jaime Garcia because he's going to get a lot of ground balls. And just think about the mindset of a pitcher. Leadoff double, different attitude. Leadoff single, hey, all I need is a ground ball.
Ground ball, I can help my own cause. Little things like that add up.
Hard to get anything by Curtis Granderson. He understands what this game's all about. 2-1. High, deep fly ball to left, and that one is going to go. Wellington Castillo hit 5 home runs against the Blue Jays a year ago. That's home run number 1 for him against the Jays.
Okay, I'm tired of seeing that. He's been doing that for a while. It's his first home run here at Rogers Center. And that one, he got all of that one. Again, the value once again of that double play. It's just a solo home run for Castillo.
First home run, 3rd RBI of the season for the catcher. And the White Sox have a 1-0 lead. Looked like a cutter. He wanted in farther and he didn't get it in and left it out over the plate.
And it was up.
Tim Anderson, the shortstop, pulls it foul past third.
We've seen him do that a few times. Last year as a member of the Baltimore Orioles. That's his first one with the White Sox.
0-2 on the White Sox shortstop.
And being his first home run by the White Sox, they give him the silent treatment.
One and two now. We mentioned Anderson hit 17 home runs a year ago. Tried that same pitch and missed up and away again. Here's the 2-2 pitch. 3 in a row underneath that breaking ball. All of them sailed high out of the strike zone.
Yeah, got underneath it, wasn't able to get on top for his release point. So from 0-2 to 3-2.
Late on that fastball.
You'd like to retire him here because we've been talking about their speed. This is one of the fastest players they have on their team.
He went after it. The ball was in the dirt. Martin knocks it down, goes to first to complete the strikeout. So Anderson strikes out the end of the top half of the fourth. Willing to steal another home run against the Blue Jays, and the Sox have a 1-0 lead.
Program is helping give her the confidence to follow her dreams. Stay tuned all season long for more stories of how the Blue Jays brand is acting as a catalyst to inspire positive social change from coast to coast to coast. Visit jayscare.com/unstoppablekids to learn more.
Great organization to help so many kids from coast to coast, and whenever you have a chance, check it out. Jays Care Foundation, a terrific organization. Donaldson hits a hot shot, one hopper to third. Sanchez throws him out. Josh got on that pitch but hit it right to the third sucker.
Jumped on that first pitch. You can't guide it out there. You can just swing the bat and hope for the best. He hit it hard, but right at Sanchez, the third baseman, one down.
Here is Justin Smoke. Smoke called out on strikes his first time up.
He also hit a couple of home runs to dead center field yesterday. I mean, he was all over it. And this is what surprises me. The center fielder looks very shallow to me. That is Engel, the center field. Now, he can really run. It looks like he's taking away the single and conceding the ball over his head.
You know what? We saw him briefly last year, and he made some terrific plays against the Blue Jays, and I like the way he plays shallow. He's got enough speed and confidence that he feels if it stays in the park, he can catch it.
He crashed into the wall a couple of times to try and take away home runs.
In Chicago, he made a heck of a catch up against the wall in right center. But again, just checking to see where he's at in relationship to that fence, but he is shallow.
Very shallow, considering where Garcia, the right fielder, is almost to the warning track in right field.
Driven to left, but that's going to hang up for Leury Garcia. 2 away.
The 2018 Civic. When it leads off, it leads for good. Honda, proud fan since 1977 and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Got a little cool around Toronto this afternoon. Roof remains closed, and obviously this time of the year it's a real advantage for the Blue Jays. No concerns about postponements or bad weather.
How about the snow all over the Northeast? Both the Mets and the Yankees were snowed out today.
The White Sox game Sunday in Kansas City was postponed. Broken bat. Anderson backing up into the outfield. A quick inning for Ronaldo Lopez. The White Sox have a 1-0 lead after 4. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Joe Siddle in the Samsung broadcast studio. In game 2 of their series. Detroit won that game 6-1 this afternoon. It'll all start at 1 p.m. Eastern time, 10 a.m. Pacific time on Sportsnet Now, so make sure you check it out. Francisco Liriano, the winning pitcher today for the Tigers, reunited with his manager Ron Gardenhire in Detroit.
Tigers' first win today, and the Royals still looking for their first win.
Kansas City drops to 0-3. Victor Martinez with 2 hits and 3 RBIs in that 6-1 win over the Royals. Leury Garcia, he struck out on a breaking ball his first time up. Boy, the pitchers in general, you look around baseball, the pitchers have really had the upper hand. The Yankees rotation, we saw how good they were. They pitched to a 131 earned run average in the 4-game series against the Blue Jays. The Dodgers, they've been terrific as always. Their starting staff has been great. Boston has had a historic start to their season with Sale, Price, and Porcello not giving up anything. But overall, the pitchers have really dominated early on.
Just ask the Chicago Cubs. They got shut out again today. That's 2 days in a row. They also had a game, I believe it was against Miami. They scored 1 run in 17 innings.
Shut out twice almost.
Yeah, they just are not hitting. But what are they saying? It's early.
The Washington Nationals rotation has a 0.98 earned run average. And the Dodgers, they have given up 1 run in 25 innings. Breaking ball for a second time. Lurie Garcia strikes out, 1 away. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. The Red Sox, they have been swinging the bats, especially Xander Bogaerts. Brian Johnson, the young left-hander, is pitching tonight. And we mentioned that Sale Price and Porcello all had good starts in their season debut. Yomer Sanchez, the third baseman, he's behind 0-2. We mentioned the Nationals and how well they have pitched. Tanner Roark's pitching tonight. 2 innings, no hits, no walks, 2 strikeouts, and the Nationals have a 5-0 lead. That makes it a little bit easier, too, when you have an early lead if you're a starting pitcher.
Heard a story about yesterday's game concerning the Nationals. They were in Cincinnati to play the Reds, and Bryce Harper had already gone deep in the game, and somebody yelled out from the stands, this is really smart, by the way, hey, you're overrated. So what did he do? Went out and hit another home run. That's the last thing you want to say.
Yeah, you know what? That guy must have gone down to Atlanta because he's homered again tonight. Bounced in the dirt. 2-2 now. 1-0. The White Sox lead it. Wellington Castillo hit a 2-out home run in the 4th. Off the plate inside. Full count.
Garcia's got 7 strikeouts through 4 1/3 inning. His career high. He had 13 strikeouts as a starter when he was with the Cardinals. Not really known as a strikeout type of pitcher, but he's got 3 pitches working tonight.
Another pitch off the plate inside. Second walk issued by Jaime Garcia.
Super Slow-Mo Cam. Brought to you by Samsung Galaxy S9 and S9 Plus. The camera reimagined. Available now.
Pete Walker on the phone to the bullpen, and that generally indicates they're going to get somebody throwing down there. Garcia's thrown 81 pitches to this point. Ground ball. That really clipped Russell Martin. And Engel, he told you he could run. But the backswing hit Martin, knocked his mask off. Solarte got the lead runner at second, but no chance to double up Engel, who can fly.
Yeah, first it wasn't hit that hard by Engel, and 2, it was going to be a tough turn at second base by Travis. Ball down and away. Watch the backswing from Engel. Clip Russell as his momentum takes him towards the inside. Just knocked his mask off.
Yeah, Russell was going down and in, anticipating that tough pitch inside. He leaned into the path of that backswing. That's why catchers wear the helmet, and Garcia just airmailed Smoke. Engel's going to go to third. Round second, and Smoke will run it back into the infield. And Jaime Garcia just sailed it over Smoke's head. That'll be the second air charge to the Blue Jays.
One by the catcher. Now this one, you had a sense that he was going to try and steal. He kept inching off. Garcia, just a little room service throw over to first base, and he throws it over the head of Smoke. He stepped off the mound first of all and tried to lob it over to him. Lobs it over to first base, and he makes it all the way to third.
John Axford starting to loosen up. Just got the baseball, and he's going to begin to throw. You know, now with Engel at third base, it really puts a lot of pressure on Russell Martin. There's been a lot of balls in the dirt early in this game. Ground ball. Solarte has it. Takes his time, and Garcia gets out of it. He commits an error, but it's not a problem. He gets another ground ball, and the Blue Jays will bat in the bottom of the fifth. Granderson, Grichuk, and Martin against Lopez.
Shop for your Toronto Blue Jays. Come visit us at the Toronto Eaton Centre, Rogers Centre, gates 1 and 5, and every in-stadium kiosk. Visit jshop.ca or call 1-877-JSHOP. Buck.
Thank you very much, Hazel. We move to the bottom of the fifth. The Blue Jays trail it 1-0. They're still looking for their first hit of the ball game. Curtis Granderson popped out to the first baseman back in the second inning. Blue Jays have just one base runner. That was a 2-out walk issued to Randall Grichuk in the second. Curveball missed inside and low. 1-1. Upstairs. A changeup.
That's his best changeup of the night. Now it looks like he slows things down a lot. Still trying to refine that, but that's his best pitch. He used it more often last year when they started laying off the curveball.
Up the middle, Anderson can't handle it. Granderson is aboard. Anderson, the shortstop, was on the first base side of second, right on the edge of the dirt. That ball looked like it had some English on it. It handcuffed him. He got to it, but he couldn't field it cleanly.
Yeah, and he stumbled a little bit. That's him on the second base side of the bag, and he gets to it. But watch him stumble just a little bit and bounces off of his glove. Takes it right back through the middle. Ronaldo Lopez not happy with the outcome. It'll go as a base hit.
First hit of the game for the Blue Jays. Randall Grichuk at the plate.
Just didn't look real confident fielding that ball, like his feet got tangled up a little bit.
First game on the artificial surface this season. And you're right, it looked like he caught his spikes on the artificial turf. Granderson was caught stealing in Saturday's game. Entered the game as a pinch hitter. Got a base hit against Dylan Betances, but was thrown out by Gary Sanchez. A terrific throw by Sanchez, and of course that was the game in which Pilar stole 3 bases in the 8th inning, and the Blue Jays had 4 stolen bases in the game.
4 in that inning. Luke Maile got credited with a stolen base, the back end of one of those double steals.
A ball and 2 strikes on the batter.
Yeah, Castillo is an excellent receiver and an excellent thrower behind the plate also. He gunned down 44% of the base runners trying to steal against him last year when he was with Baltimore. This isn't really the time to try and run or try and be creative on the bases right now.
The Blue Jays have done a pretty good job hitting with 2 strikes in the last 2 ball games they played against New York. They had 5 2-strike hits. In the dirt.
We talked about that at the beginning of this broadcast about the offense looking a little bit more comfortable, hitting the ball the other way, hitting with 2 strikes, having a better 2-strike approach. You mentioned the 5 2-strike hits, 3 of them by Justin Smoak.
Ball 3 in the dirt.
Now you might think about trying to start that runner. If you're John Gibbons, you start thinking about gambling. Okay, am I going to gamble that Grichuk is going to make contact, put the ball in play, stay out of the double play? You got that leadoff runner on base for the first time tonight.
Well, the Blue Jays haven't had too many good swings tonight. Why not start the runner? Granderson with the lead, a short one. And they force him back.
Did not look like he was running on that attempt. He was a step and a dive. Just fell back down on the base, so he doesn't have a really big lead over at first.
Wellington Castillo led the American League in caught stealing percentage last year. He threw out 49%. There goes Granderson. Ball is fouled back out of play. I like the play.
Yeah, that time looked like the Blue Jays, after they threw over to first base, changed up and said, we're going to start the runner. And what Granderson does is he keeps his feet moving. He just keeps inching off and keeps himself moving so he's not starting from a dead stop. Short lead there. And when Lopez comes set, watch Granderson just start to keep moving, keep the feet moving.
There he goes. Inside, Grichuk works another walk. Brando Grichuk has always been characterized as a free swinger, but he's done a nice job this spring, being patient, selective, laying off those borderline pitches. That's the second walk he's drawn tonight. So Russell Martin will step to the plate. Martin flied out to right field. First and second, nobody out. Abreu at first looked like he's expecting the bunt. Outside, and Castillo has seen enough.
Yeah, the whole infield's going to come in and talk about this one. Blue Jays aren't going to bunt here. They haven't at least shown that they're going to bunt with Russell Martin.
Well, if you're going to get charged for a timeout, you might, for a trip to the mound, you might as well get everybody involved. The whole infield is there. Sanchez and Anderson talking things over, encouraging Reynaldo Lopez. Bottom of the fifth inning, Blue Jays got their first hit off the bat of Curtis Granderson to lead the inning off, and then Grichuk walked.
Still short on the corners, too.
Off-speed pitch. If I were commissioner for a day, the first thing I would do was change the rule about the double play slide. These are the types of games where it really becomes important. And look how far Abreu is behind the base runner at first. He's not concerned at all with a big lead by Grichuk.
Great point. That used to be part of the game right there. 1-0 game, first and second. Your job as a first baseman, the runner at first base, blow that guy up at second base.
And look where Abreu is. He's not concerned at all about the big lead that Grichuk can get because Grandal can't break up too.
Back in the day, you had to like cut it off and you had to get right behind him to keep him close to the base.
Nice block by Castillo. That ball hit in front of home plate. But these are the types of games where those little things determine the outcome. Obviously, the Blue Jays aren't doing much against Lopez. You got a good base runner at first in Grichuk. I mean, he's the type of guy that relishes these opportunities. Get down there and break up a double play. Maybe he'll throw it over the first baseman's head.
And they'd have a run and we'd be all tied. At worst, he'd be out at second base, first and third, one out, and they have an excellent chance of tying the game. And we're not talking about hurting somebody. We're just talking about breaking up the double play.
Two and two. Martin fouled off that good fastball. Russell, we mentioned he got a big hit in yesterday's game. A leadoff single off of David Robertson. He hadn't had a hit in his career against Robertson. Bounced foul. Again, another good at bat for Martin. We mentioned how the Blue Jays have battled with 2 strikes. Grichuk worked Lopez for a walk. And now Martin with a 2-2 count fouls off a tough pitch.
Russell's always, his whole career, he has had good at bats where he has long counts, good command of the strike zone, understanding what the pitcher's trying to do to him, really working that count, grinding out at bats.
Martin strikes out, and there's a perfect example of a pitcher missing his spot but still had enough velocity to get the strikeout.
Yeah, he was anticipating that ball inside. The catcher had moved up inside, but he misses his spot, and it looked like Russell was just trying to make contact with that ball.
Had to bring Kevin Pillar to the plate. Pillar grounded out to shortstop starting off the 3rd inning. 1 away. The infield for Chicago at double play depth. 2-0. We mentioned the outfield for the White Sox, very athletic, and they all have good speed. Boy, it's reflected in the way they play. They are shallow.
Shallow. They've been shallow, at least the center fielder. That's an aggressive setup right there in center field. When you're shallow, you're almost daring the opposition to hit the ball over your head. Change up 2-0.
How about that? 96, 97. We've seen 99 from Lopez, and he's behind 2-0, and he throws Pilar a changeup for a called strike.
Told you he's got a lot of confidence in that changeup. Pilar's been much better in these situations early on this season. Not trying to do too much, just staying within himself.
That's going to reach the seats out of play. You can see how long Wellington Castillo waited before he moved into his location. Everybody nowadays very paranoid about base runners from second relaying location to the hitter. And Castillo gave the sign, gave the location, but waited until Lopez started his delivery to move.
Didn't help last time. You know, they tried to go inside to Martin and he threw the ball outside.
Right, Jordan Baker, the home plate umpire, has been very consistent on that inside pitch. They have missed, and he has called them balls. He's done a good job on that pitch. So it's 3-2, 1 out. Granderson's at second, Grichuk's at first, Kevin Pilar at the plate. Number 9 hitter, Ledmus Diaz on deck. Hot shot, Anderson from his knees to second for 1, back to first, double play. Tim Anderson, a very athletic play, starts the 6-4-3 double play, and that ends the bottom of the 5th. The Blue Jays get their first hit off Reynaldo Lopez, and the infield gives him support with the double play.
Stories from the game. It all gets underway next Thursday. Bye.
Thank you very much, Hazel. We move to the 6th inning. White Sox have a 1-0 lead. There have only been 4 hits in this game. The big blow, of course, the home run by Wellington Castillo with 2 outs in the 4th off Jaime Garcia. Reynaldo Lopez, the young starter for the White Sox, has been just a touch better. Blue Jays have just 1 hit.
Big inning right here for Garcia. 3rd time through the lineup right now against the White Sox, and you're going through the middle of the lineup right here. I think John Gibbons is going to have a reliever up and ready just in case somebody gets on.
Big hop for the shortstop Diaz. Good throw in time, one away. John Axford was up earlier in the game. He is certainly close to being ready. You can see Dane Johnson, the bullpen coach, running to answer the phone. I'm sure Pete Walker asking, how close is Axford?
They'll also get a message, hey, if this guy gets on, you're in the ball game. Or if anybody gets on this inning, we want you to face this guy. Just so they are prepared. It shouldn't take him that long to get loose.
No, he was up earlier. Generally, veterans like Axford, first time they get up, they get close but not ready. Second time they get up, it only takes them about 7 or 8 pitches to get loose. That's going to drop for a base hit off the bat of Jose Abreu. His second hit of the night. He had a single in the 4th.
Hit a home run with any project this season. Home Hardware, proud sponsor of the Toronto Blue Jays.
First of 3 against the Chicago White Sox. White Sox won their first 2 games of the season against Kansas City. Chicago playing for the 2nd year under the manager Rick Renteria. Matt Davidson, the DH, he's hit 2 ground balls. He grounded out the 3rd in the 2nd and hit into a double play in the 4th.
That was that great play by Granderson in the outfield to hold Abreu to a single to allow Garcia to get the double play. He wants something middle in. You can just tell. He's looking middle in from Garcia, but he's kept everything away from him.
Jaime Garcia has been impressive tonight. He's been able to get all of his pitches into the strike zone. He's had great movement on the fastball. Blue Jays have turned 2 double plays in support of Garcia. And he's held the White Sox, who came here red hot, to just 4 hits. Fly ball, not deep. Granderson backing up, going back to tag is Abreu at first. He's going to try to get to second, and there's the tag. Good job by Granderson. Abreu trying to steal 90 feet, gets caught. Curtis Granderson never puts his head down, playing with his head up. Alertly got the ball back to the infield, and the Blue Jays get another double play. Abreu a little bit over aggressive on the bases. He goes back to tag up, puts his head down, but it's right on the money at second for the double play.
Yeah, he cut a ball off to keep the double play in order, and now he's going to start another double play by throwing out his first base runner of the season at second base. Abreu trying to catch him napping. No chance as he gets him easy. He tried to tag up on that fly ball to left field. Said, why did I do that?
That's not a good feeling. So it's still a 1-0 game. The number 9 hitter, Ledmus Diaz, rips it right to the third baseman. What a play by Sanchez as he went to a knee, took the ball on one hop, and that was a shot.
Yeah, he was in to guard against the bunt. And again, the White Sox are playing on the turf for the first time this season. He handled that one. You got to get down low, and that's exactly what he does. That ball finds the glove, and then he finishes it off for 1 out. That thing gets to you quickly. That's like a goalie in hockey, just trying to save the puck from going into the net.
That's a perfect example of why they call it the hot corner. You can't hit a ball much harder than that. I'd like to know the exit velocity on that last one. Devin Travis is 0 for 2, but that's the story for the Blue Jays tonight. They have managed just one hit. That was a Granderson leadoff single in the 5th. And it was an infield single. Lopez really pulled that ball off the plate outside, got a little bit ahead of himself. 85 pitches. He's nearing the end of the line.
He didn't look real committed on that last pitch, did he? Followed it up with a changeup. He kept shaking, and Castillo was going slider, and he said no. Fastball, no. Slider, no. Fastball, okay. If you think so. And he just didn't look like he was really committed to throw that previous pitch.
Travis strikes out for a second time. The fastball gets him here in the 6th. John Gibbons congratulates Jaime Garcia for his outstanding start here tonight. Axford has been up. Joins him now. Josh Donaldson hit the ball hard his last time up, grounded out the third.
You know, when you make trades at the major league level, or even for the minor leagues for that matter, you're hoping that both teams get what they were looking for. I think the White Sox pretty happy with the trade they made with Washington. They traded Adam Eaton, and one of the arms they got back was Lopez. He has looked right at home.
Well, they got Lucas Giolito in that trade as well, so they got 2 of their 5 starters in that trade for a center fielder, and they're both early in their career.
Young players who are just starting out at the major league level. They gave up a proven major leaguer in Adam Eaton. That's what Washington wanted. A guy to play the outfield and hit at the top of their order. And they had some pitching that they could give up.
Boy, right there, Lopez really telegraphed that last changeup. He sped up his delivery, and you could see him anxious to throw it. Don Cooper will make a little mental note of that. Two-two pitch. Swinging a drive deep to right. Garcia on the run at the track. Get out of here. Gone. Number 1 for Donaldson. An opposite field home run, and we are tied.
Josh has put up some big numbers against the White Sox over the last couple of seasons, and he's at it again here in 2018. They tried to go fastball inside, and he left it out over the middle of the plate, and Donaldson homers down the right field line.
Donaldson, his 10th home run in his last 24 games against the White Sox. His 22nd RBI.
It looked like he had a message for the White Sox. Here's the fastball, four-seamer. They wanted to go inside, and it ended up over the middle of the plate. And Josh ties it up with one swing.
The Blue Jays have now homered in all 5 of their games this year. Whatever Donaldson said, the White Sox were amused. But it was in the first inning when Donaldson broke his bat, jogged up the first baseline. Somebody, we don't know who obviously, nor do we know what was said, but something was said in the White Sox dugout. Donaldson just returned the favor. Smoke 1-2. Go back to the first inning after Donaldson broke his bat. He jogged up the first baseline, and then you could hear something is said out of the White Sox dugout, and Donaldson picked up on it. And then when he crosses home plate, that might have been a zip it. 2-2, 2 outs, a 1-1 game. Smoke hits it high and deep down the left side, slicing away from Garcia, and that's back out of play.
We saw that a couple of years ago. Minnesota said something when the team was in Minnesota. They said something to Josh after one at bat, and didn't he hit like 2 or 3 home runs that series after that? Drives to center field.
Better be careful throwing Smoke anything away. He's got good power to the opposite field. Everything has been to the outer half.
Yeah, he just missed his last time up, taking Garcia to the warning track in left field.
There's another pitch away, again slicing away from Garcia and into the seats. Smoke told us about that pitch in reference to facing Masahiro Tanaka in the Yankees series. Tanaka had always thrown him a lot of breaking balls to backside. And Smoke hit a double off him on a pitch away.
Got to keep reminding yourself to stay on that ball. Don't overswing. Stay on it. Don't pull off of it.
Smoke caught looking for a second time. Again, it's the slider that gets him. But Josh Donaldson breaks through an opposite field, a 2-out home run. First of the season. His 10th home run against the White Sox in his last 24 games, and he knew it. He had a good outing, 91 pitches over 6 innings. He allowed just 4 hits. Well, one of those hits was a home run off the bat of Wellington Castillo. 2 walks, 7 strikeouts, and he was very good in his first opportunity to start for the Blue Jays here at Rogers
Yes,
Center.
he was. Marco Estrada threw 7 innings. That's the farthest a starter has gone this season. Jaime Garcia right behind him, 6 innings, 4 hits. And he had those 7 strikeouts. He will give way to Sungwon Oh. Oh got the save in yesterday's ball game with a very clean inning against the Yankees. Had a hit, a couple of fly balls, and a strikeout. There are his numbers as he works again for the Jays.
Ball bounced in the dirt. Wellington Castillo, he's accounted for the White Sox run. Home runs doing all the damage here. Castillo, the home run. He hit it in the 4th, and Donaldson his home run in the bottom of the 6th. 2 balls and no strikes. The Blue Jays, as I mentioned, have now homered in 5 straight games. The last time they did that to start the season was 2011. High fly ball. Granderson near the track, near the wall, and that ball is gone. Wellington Castillo continues to wear out the Blue Jays. That's his 2nd career multi-home run game against the Jays. That ball just kept carrying and sailed over the wall in center field.
Yeah, it had good sound. I didn't think it was going to leave the ballpark, but the ball's been carrying this year. Pilar thought he had a beat on. He's going to climb up the wall to make a catch, but Castillo continues to do the damage against the Blue Jays. That's 7 career home runs now against Toronto. Pitch for Mo, inner half. He's a good low ball hitter, and he cranks it to left center field. And Pilar, I was watching him the whole way. He had his eye on it. He was thinking about climbing that wall, but it just kept carrying on him.
Castillo really wore out the Blue Jays last year. He had 5 home runs against the Jays. He had a walk-off home run and a 2-homer game. Diaz from the hole makes a terrific play to get Tim Anderson, his counterpart for the White Sox. Boy, he did a good job of unloading that in a hurry. He was well aware of who was running.
Yeah, he didn't have time to plant that right foot and get on top of it because he knows Anderson can really run. Gets a good break on the ball. Watch how quickly he gets rid of it and accurately. That's one thing that I've been impressed with Diaz, watching him for the first time, his arm strength. He got a good arm.
Threw that one right on the money. Lurie Garcia, the left fielder, struck out twice against Jaime Garcia, both times on a curveball.
75 career at bats now for Castillo against the Blue Jays. 7 home runs.
Good splitter from O. 0-2. I mentioned Castillo with a multi-home run game last September in Baltimore against the Jays. 2 home runs tonight. This is actually his 3rd multi-home run game against the Blue Jays, his 6th career multi-home run game.
Wow. 20 home runs last year. He's off to a good start this year.
He has now hit 7 home runs against the Blue Jays. That ties the total of 7 he's hit against the Giants, and the most he's hit came against the Cincinnati Reds. He's hit 8 against Cincinnati. Full count. Double barrel action. Danny Farquhar on the left. Luis Avilan on the right. Lefty righty, and there's a 1-out walk. Reynaldo Lopez now in line for the win. I believe the White Sox have already made a decision that he's done for the night. Thanks to his catcher, he has a 2-1 lead. Yomer Sanchez, the third baseman, he's been hit by a pitch and he's walked. I wouldn't be surprised if the White Sox try something here. Start the runner at first base.
Try to open up a hole on the infield. O's not really a strikeout type of pitcher. He makes you put the ball in play.
Not running here. Fouled straight back. It's 0-2.
He got the save yesterday, and that come from behind win against the Yankees. Just gave up a 2-out hit to Judge, and that was it.
One and two. Judge's single came on an 0-2 pitch, just a soft liner to left field with 2 outs. And then O was able to get Stanton to fly out and end the game. Hit him. So Sanchez has reached all 3 times. Hit by a pitch twice and a walk. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell. Well, obviously a great evening in Houston as they raise the World Series banner. They picked up their World Series rings as well. The Astros have a 4-0 lead.
Carlos Correa had to leave that game. Left toe bruise. Fouled a ball off of his foot tonight.
But they have plenty of depth on that team. They move people around.
You see who their number 5 starter is? Charlie Morton. Throwing 98 tonight.
This is Adam Engel, the center fielder, batting in the 9th spot. He's been on base twice. He's reached on 2 fielders' choices. Yeah, Charlie Morton, he won 2 Game 7s last year, including a terrific relief appearance in Game 7 of the World Series against the Dodgers. 1-1 pitch. Popped in the air on the infield. Infield fly in effect, and Engel is out. 2 away.
Canada's favorite car cheers for Canada's favorite team. Honda, proud fan since 1977, and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Top of the 7th inning, Wellington Castillo has homered for a second time tonight, accounting for both of the White Sox runs as they lead it 2-1. Sonwan Oh, the pitcher. 2 aboard, 2 outs. Leadoff man Yoan Moncada. He's 1 for 2 with a walk.
They have positioned the outfield of the Blue Jays straight away against O. Moncada's got extra base pop in that bat.
There's a good splitter. Takes the sting out of that bat. Ball on the strike. That time that splitter's in the dirt. White Sox have 5 hits. Jose Abreu with a pair of singles. Wellington Castillo with a pair of homers. And Yoan Moncada got a leadoff single in the first. That's been it. But they've made the most of those 5 hits. Fly ball over near the seats. Granderson Right on the edge of the track, he's got room and makes the catch that ends the inning. But Wellington Castillo, his second home run of the game, his third multi-home run against the Blue Jays, has given the Sox a 2-1 lead. First start of the season is a good one. He throws 100 pitches over 6 innings, allows just 2 hits. The only run, a Josh Donaldson opposite field home run. He walked 2 and struck out 6.
Pretty impressive outing for the 24-year-old. His first outing against the Blue Jays, 100 pitches in his first start of the season. He'll give way to Luis Avilan. Avilan, one of 3 lefties in the bullpen for the White Sox. Last season with the Dodgers in 61 games, 2-3 with a .293 earned run average. It's basically fastball changeup. Mixes in a curveball every now and then. This is to turn Solarte around and pitch to Granderson as the lefty.
Solarte 0 for 2 with a strikeout. Avilan from Venezuela as is Solarte. 7 years in the big leagues for Avilan.
Spent some time with the Braves. That looked like his changeup right there. It's just 82 miles an hour. His fastball 93, 94. Fastball changeup, and again he'll mix in a curve every now and then.
Lined right to the shortstop. Curtis Granderson got a base hit, the first hit for the Blue Jays, leading off the 5th.
He took a quick look into the dugout to see if he was going to be pinched hit for. But John Gibbons said, no, I want you to stay in there against the lefty. It's only the 7th inning. His spot in the order might come back around late in the ball game, and I think you want his home run bat in the game. The closer is Joaquim Soria, a tough righty.
Well, you remember in the game yesterday, Kendrys Morales pinch hit in the 6th inning, and then that spot came around in the 8th inning. But Aledmus Diaz, who took over defensively, hit a double to continue that inning. It was a 1-out double, and that set the tone as then Donaldson was given the intentional pass and Smoke hit the grand slam. But Morales batted in the 6th, so he was not available later on in the game in the 8th. I think this is why Granderson's here right now. It's not a run scoring situation.
Right, and I think he was trying to force Gibby to do something, and force his hand to see if he can get him out of the game.
You really have to be prudent with your decisions to pinch hit because benches are so thin. Everybody's carrying 12, sometimes 13 pitchers, so there aren't many options for you. So you have to be very careful when you use that pinch hitter.
Yeah, and if you've got your backup catcher, you're not going to use him. You're not going to burn him unless you absolutely have to.
2-2 pitch.
Here's
Granderson had a good hack at that breaking ball.
Yeah, Avilan is throwing that curveball, and he's keeping it out over the middle of the plate for Grandy, and he just missed it. He had a pitch to hit.
Granderson is 4 for 10 going up against Avilan. So those numbers play into it as well. But I think more than anything, since there's nobody on, you just keep him in the ball game here in the 7th.
Yeah, and there's a real good chance, like we said, his spot's going to come back around in the 9th inning if it's still a 1-run game. I want him hitting against a right-hander. Choking up now just a little bit more against Avilan.
Battling tough with 2 strikes. Do the 10 at-bats give Granderson a real good feel about what he's done against Avilan?
I think so. Looks pretty confident and comfortable at the plate to me.
10 at-bats is a pretty good sample against a relief pitcher. Obviously, you're only going to face him 1 time in a game. And as we mentioned, Curtis is 4 for 10. Driven down the left field line, slicing down into the corner and out of play. Larry Garcia, the left fielder, was shaded near the foul line. If that was going to hit fair, there's a chance that he was going to catch it.
He is shading him that way because Curtis is really hanging in there, waiting that extra second to make sure he sees the baseball and doesn't commit too early with that front shoulder on a breaking ball. So he's fouling that fastball down the left field line.
This will be the 10th pitch of this at bat. Good at bat as Granderson works the 1-on walk.
This 4K broadcast is brought to you by the Samsung QLED TV. See nothing else.
But an at bat by Curtis Granderson. Rick Renteria has made the call to the bullpen for the right-hander, but John Gibbons held his ground, kept Granderson in the game, and it worked in their favor. Now the lefty is out. Danny Farquhar is in. cannot be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express or written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Home runs have provided for all the scoring tonight. The White Sox got 2 off the bat of Wellington Castillo. The Blue Jays' run came off the bat of Josh Donaldson, his first home run of the season, and that's where we stand here with 1 out in the bottom of the 7th. New pitcher is Danny Farquhar.
Yeah, now it's up to the middle relief as we're in the middle parts of this ball game. Danny Farquhar was let go by the Rays in July of last season, picked up by the White Sox. That's what he did in his 52 games with Tampa Bay and Chicago last year. He's always had a good fastball.
First pitch is up and in for ball 1. Brando Grichuk has walked both times he's come to the plate this evening. Farquhar originally drafted by the Blue Jays in 2008. A 10th round pick.
Fastball, changeup, curve, about 93 or 94 with that fastball. Well, right now having trouble locating it.
Good chance for Grichuk to really keyhole here against Farquhar. Look for something you can drive. Granderson's at first. Oh, he got a pitch to hit and got under it. Avisail Garcia in right field waits for it, and Grichuk would like to have another swing at that one.
Yeah, a couple more weeks when the timing's a little bit better, I think he hits that ball out of the ballpark. That was a 2-0 fastball right down the middle, and Randall was just a hair tardy. Just missed it.
Russell Martin, he'll bat with 2 outs. That's 0 for 2. We mentioned the Blue Jays have but 2 hits. A Granderson single and a Donaldson home run. Ball in the dirt, 1-1. Off speed pitch. A ball and 2 strikes now. John Axford loosening up. Ryan Tepera has joined him as well. High fly ball to left, deep. Get up, ball, get up, ball, get out of here, get out! Russell Martin. And the Blue Jays continue to hit the homers. They now lead it 3-2.
You know, we were talking earlier about the approach at the plate with 2 strikes. That's another 2-strike base hit by the Blue Jays. Farquhar had just thrown an outstanding changeup to Martin to get the 2 strikes that Russell swung through. Then he tried to slip a fastball by him. And he missed his spot, and Russell still can clock it. That's number 1 on the season for Russell, and it's a big one.
And a big leadoff single in the 8th inning yesterday, and he comes through with a 2-run home run here in the 7th. And the Blue Jays have the lead.
That's got to feel good. After the changeup that he swung through, Farquhar tries to go fastball in, but Russell's still quick enough to get to it.
Lots of late movement on that pitch to Pilar. It's 1-1. So the Blue Jays continue to hit the home runs. They had 2 in the game yesterday, provided by Justin Smoke. Today, the veterans Donaldson and Martin come through. Good sound.
Great sound. Back to the wall. And over the wall. Axford caught it.
Pop up into shallow center. Engel drifting in. He will get there and make the catch. The inning is over, but Russell Martin with his first home run of the season. Curtis Granderson drew a walk. He's at first base when Martin touches up this fastball, and the Blue Jays have a 3-2 lead as we go to the 8th.
Honda, official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays and proud fan since 1977.
Well, the Blue Jays have done a great job coming through late in ball games early this season. The Blue Jays scored 15 runs against the Yankees. 10 of those runs came in the 7th inning or later against what is perceived to be one of the best bullpens in all of baseball.
That's right, and the Blue Jays were able to hold on to win 2 of those. The first one was won by this man right here. Ryan Tepera won that game on Saturday. He won 7 games out of the bullpen last year. Solidly into that role as the setup man now. He's going to have to deal with Garcia, Abreu, and Davidson.
2, 3, and 4. Meat of the order for Chicago. Fly ball. Grichuk backing up. He's got room. 1 away. Garcia now 0 for 4.
1-run ball game late in the game, and the outfielders are playing deep, nothing over their heads. Randall just took a couple of steps and caught it right before the warning track.
Ryan Tepera really came into his own last year. A couple of early season extended outings turned his career around.
5th in the American League last year in innings pitched, 77 2/3. He also won those 7 ball games. Came right after the hitters and really trusted his stuff last year.
Took that breaking ball a little further outside. He jumps ahead of Jose Abreu 0-2. Ryan is now 30 years old. This is his 4th season in the majors. 2016, he was back and forth between AAA and the big leagues, I believe 8 times. But last year, he became a mainstay in the bullpen and had a terrific year.
Starter in the minor leagues, shifted to the bullpen and really adapted well.
Left that ball over the plate. Got away with one there. Martin had set up well off the plate and he wanted it way outside.
Tripled up on that slider. They might show him something a little bit different this time. Here comes the high fastball.
Too high. A big inning for the Blue Jays. 8th inning with 2, 3, and 4 in the White Sox batting order. Lots of power. Fastball over Travis into center field. Pilar will play it back in. Abreu's headed for second, and he will get there with a slide. Good base running by Abreu in this one-run game. He never hesitated out of the box and hustled up and gets into second base, representing the tying run.
That's an impressive piece of base running because the outfielders, again, were deep trying to cut the ball off so there were no doubles. This ball is stung. Fastball away, and it gets right by Travis. Thought he had a shot at it. Pilar cuts it off. But you're right. Abreu never hesitated. He was thinking, too, as soon as he hit this ball, he was thinking about getting into scoring position.
One out for Matt Davidson. Fastball as Tepera gets ahead, 97 miles an hour. Davidson's had a rough night to this point. He's 0 for 3. He's grounded into double plays twice each of his last 2 plate appearances. Another fastball just a bit outside. It's 1-1. Again, the Blue Jays offense coming around late in this game. Russell Martin with a 2-run home run. Bottom of the 7th.
Good pitch. Throwing that ball with conviction, that fastball down and away. Should have him set up for a slider off the plate.
Looks like another fastball. He checked his swing. Tepera using that good fastball, but it's now a 2-2 count to Matt Davidson. Davidson's only had 1 at bat against Tepera. He's 0 for 1. He hasn't seen the breaking ball yet. There it is. He's seen it now. But Tepera's not out of the woods yet. 2 outs, and Wellington Castillo has gone deep twice this evening.
This is the first one off of Jaime Garcia. Gave them a 1-0 lead. Blue Jays would tie it up. He would come right back with number 2 off of O. But the Blue Jays would come back to take the lead. Got to be careful on anything inner half.
2 outs. Martin set up outside. And breaking ball backed up. That's the danger zone. Come right back with it now because Tepera has a feel for that last one. He got underneath it.
Yeah, he knew he made a mistake with it and got away with it.
Spins in, checks the runner back. Top of the 8th inning. Abreu at second. His 3rd hit of the night was a double. Bounced in the dirt. TOR doesn't look like he feels real good with his breaking ball. He's gotten underneath a couple of them, and that time he bounced that one. His fastball has been terrific.
Yeah, the best slider he's thrown was the one to Davidson to finish off that at bat.
There's a good fastball. You know, that's why you have to give the catcher the leeway to read what he's seeing from his pitcher during an inning. Yeah, we know TOR's got a great slider, but right now, it's not where he would like it.
Yeah, he backed up one, the first pitch to Castillo. He spiked the other one.
1-2. Off the plate with the slider. It's a full count. Abreu at second. Had a one-out double. Castillo at to play. Tim Anderson to shortstop. He's on deck. He's 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts.
Throw the pitch that you have most confidence with right here. You don't want to make a mistake. The one that you can control.
He went after the slider. It was off the plate, but TOR with a couple of strikeouts. With a runner in scoring position, the Blue Jays will take a lead into the bottom of the 8th. Now time for a Blue Jays Central Update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Joe Siddle in the Samsung broadcast studio. The Blue Jays trying to make it 3 in a row here in Game 1 of this Chicago White Sox series. Russell Martin with a 2-run home run in the 7th. Josh Donaldson tied it up with his home run in the 6th. And Aledmys Diaz hits a drive to left. Get up, ball, get up, get up, hit it down! Aledmys Diaz been swinging the bat lately.
He got his first hit, a big hit to right field in that comeback win the other day. This time a little add-on runs, some insurance. Not waiting around. He's got some power. He had 17 home runs in 2016. Shows you that he can live out there with the big boys too.
He smoked the ball in the 6th. Hit a one-hopper right to the third baseman. But he's starting to feel it. Boy, the Blue Jays have been terrific late in games in their last 3 games.
Hitting home runs. Here's another one. Belt-high fastball. Connected. All of their runs tonight coming on home runs.
That ball is driven into center. Adam Engel gets over and makes the play on Devin Travis. One away. That'll bring Josh Donaldson to the plate. Been a lot of things going on with Donaldson. He grounded out in the first, and then Daryl Boston, the first base coach, blows a whistle after good defensive plays, and Diaz hit this hot shot, and then Boston goes to work. Donaldson heard that whistle, and then when he hit the home run and touched home plate, he was mocking that whistle blown by Daryl Boston.
Mystery solved on what was going on.
Donaldson is 1 for 3 with a big home run. Popped up. Moncada, the second baseman, makes the catch. So that'll bring Justin Smoak to the plate with 2 away here in the 8th. Renteria has popped out of the White Sox dugout. Looks like he's going to make a pitching change here. So the left-hander will come on, Adam Bummer, to make Smoak hit as a right-handed hitter, and this never really works. Smoak's a pretty good right-handed hitter. '18 Civic Type R.
After a walk to Curtis Granderson, he's over at first base. Up steps Russell Martin. And with 2 strikes, Farquhar tries to throw a fastball by him, and Russell says, not so fast. Home run number 1 on the season for Russell. That gave the Blue Jays a 3-2 lead. They'd add another run on a home run by Diaz. Russell Martin has tonight's drive of the game.
John Axford caught the home run. He was warming up in the bullpen. This is a new pitcher, Adam Bummer. 30 games a year ago. One of 3 lefties the White Sox have in their bullpen. The second lefty to work here tonight.
Aaron Bummer is a left-hander that can't throw the ball straight. Fastball, slider, and he gets a lot of movement on those pitches. 19th round draft pick by the White Sox in 2014.
Smoak hits it to the third baseman, and Sanchez can't handle it. So Smoak's aboard. Sharply hit an 0-2 hot shot the third. Sanchez has made some good plays tonight. That was one that he'd like to do over.
Made 9 errors last season, 6 of them at second base, 3 of them at third base. This one right at him. looked like it came up on him just a little bit. Smoke tops that ball at third base, keeps the inning alive.
And there's Solarte. Blue Jays have the lead here in the 8th. Osuna is loose, and Aaron Loop just now getting up to toss. Osuna is ready. Off speed, pulled into the seats, foul. Here's Solarte. He thought he was going to get hit by that last pitch. He had the jackknife out of the way.
He knows that he doesn't throw the ball straight. That ball's coming in on him. Thought it might clip him.
A ball and 2 strikes. Inside again. Donaldson and Martin providing the power. A couple of home runs between them, and Diaz chipped in with his first. Ledmus Diaz is starting to get his timing. Foul ball. Another pitch inside, and Solarte did his best just to keep the at-bat alive.
Yeah, with a lot of movement, tough to square that pitch up. Hit that one right on the ground. Aaron Bummer was in 4 different levels last year through the farm system of the Chicago White Sox. Winston-Salem, Birmingham, Charlotte, and then made the jump to the big leagues. Got into 30 games last year.
3-2, 2 outs. There goes Smoke, and he'll have to go back.
Last couple of games, late in the game, the Blue Jay at-bats have been outstanding.
Well, let's go back to the 7th inning. Curtis Granderson batting against the lefty. Had a great at-bat, and he walked to set the table for the Martin home run. But you're right, the quality of their bats with 2 strikes have been terrific. But John Gibbons elected to have Granderson hit in that situation with 1 out, nobody on. And Granderson worked Luis Avilan for the walk. And then 1 out later, Martin had a 2-run home run.
Yesterday, the home run by Smoke in the game was a 9-pitch at bat.
Ball 4. Another good at bat, this time by Solarte.
Hit a home run with any project this season. Home Hardware, proud sponsor of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Beautiful shot of downtown Toronto, just a few blocks away from Rogers Center. Blue Jays trying to make it 3 in a row. Trying to win the opener of this 3-game series against the White Sox. The White Sox, on the other hand, they've won their first 2 games, trying to win 3 in a row for the first time to open up a season since 1992. The manager in 92, Gene Lamont. Granderson hits it to left field. Garcia on the warning track. Curtis Granderson just a couple of feet short of adding some insurance, but the Blue Jays will take a 2-run lead into the 9th. They lead it 4-2. Ledmus Diaz connects for his first homer as a Blue Jay, the 3rd long ball of the night. Osuna making his third appearance of the season, looking for his second save of the year.
Yeah, he got that first one on Saturday, the first win of the season by the Blue Jays against the Yankees when he had a good inning. 1-2-3 inning against New York with a strikeout. Last season, Roberto had a big year. Trying to nail this one down. He will face Anderson, Lurie Garcia, and Yolmer Sanchez. The White Sox have given him trouble over the years.
This will be the 9th game Osuna has pitched against Chicago, and they have hit him hard. He's 0-3, but he has 3 saves. They've hit .345 against him. Anderson, the shortstop, 0-for-3, a couple of strikeouts. Fly ball. Should be playable for Grichuk over into foul territory. He's got room, one away. Now for a preview of what's coming up next on Sportsnet Central. Here's Ken Reed and Ivanka Osmak. Thank you very much, Ivanka. That's all coming up right after this game, so make sure you stay tuned, and they'll bring you up to date on everything that's going on around the NHL and Major League Baseball. Lurie Garcia, the left fielder, he struck out twice and walked. Ground ball, Solarte at third. Boy, he's looked good at third. He's made some good plays.
Made some good decisions. That time backed up on the ball just a little bit so he could catch it squarely. Tell you what, he's got a lot of energy. He brings a lot to this team, and I'll tell you, after all these big home runs, he gets excited and does his dance.
He has been out of the dugout 3 times tonight to celebrate a Blue Jays home run. He's got a lot of spirit. Popped up. This is playable down the left field line, but it's going to drop and go into the seats. Osuna, 5 pitches, 5 strikes.
Yeah, 5 fastballs coming right after these guys with a 2-run lead. That's the best way. Put the pressure on the opposition with that good fastball. Roberto waiting for his teammates now to get back into position and catch their breath. A nod of the head. He says, all right, let's go.
Yolmer Sanchez has been on base all 3 times he's come to the plate tonight. He's been hit twice by pitches, and he's walked his other plate appearance. But now Osuna is a strike away from his second save of the season. Seven pitches, 7 strikes. Great inning for Roberto Osuna. He picks up his second save of the season, his 4th career save against the White Sox, and he did it in a fancy style. He didn't throw a ball.
Strike after strike after strike as the Blue Jays come back again late to win game 1 of this series. The home run did it again tonight. Great approach at the plate by the Blue Jays late. 3 more home runs give the Blue Jays the victory. How about Garcia, Otapera, and Osuna?
Pitching has been outstanding, and Solarte made a couple of key defensive plays. The Blue Jays get just 4 hits, but they make the most of it. They've won 3 in a row. They beat the White Sox 4-2. Stay tuned. Here's Sportsnet Central with Ken and Ivanka. See you tomorrow night.